It's a religion of hate, of terrorism, of so on and so forth in that way, but you know, it's the complete opposite. Our brothers and sisters in Palestine, those that really hit me. And subhanallah, it wasn't until I read Surah Al-Rahman that you know, that was the moment that I knew I was going to become a Muslim. You know, alhamdulillah, I reverted in April 10th of this year, the day of Eid. So I would say now it's been about 8 months. And again, alhamdulillah, I've been super blessed. Yeah, like it's a joke now, but I'm literally living like du'as and insha'Allahs. That's how it feels. You know, something that a very special brother said to me was that in terms of du'as, like you could have met someone like years ago, months ago, you really don't know, and that person could have seen some goodness in you, and they could have made a du'a for you to be guided or for you to find Islam. And you know, here we are, and on the day of judgment, when your life is replayed in front of you, you know, you'll get to really see, you know, where it came from. And again, like life is right now is just living du'as and insha'Allahs. How did I convert to Islam? That is a great question. It's a long one, but I'll try to make it short and sweet. So, you know, alhamdulillah for finding Islam. The way that it happened was initially a sister basically questioned my beliefs. She asked me, you know, what I believe, how I came to that belief, if I believe that the Bible was preserved, and so on and so forth. And I really didn't have the answers immediately. So what I had done was pretty much I told her, listen, let me get back to you. Let me look at the Bible. And at the same time, I was curious generally about what I was being told about Islam by that sister at the time. So I actually purchased the Quran at the same time, and I started reading both of them at the same time. And alhamdulillah, I started reading, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. I'll go into much more detail about it. But initially, I started reading, and you know, I got to Surah Al-Baqarah, and right then and there, my heart started opening at that point, because I was like, how is it that this book that's 1400 years old is so specific? It tells me about charity, it tells me about divorce, and it goes into every single scenario that I was able to think of. So that, and in addition, all the stories of the prophets, peace be upon them all, that were told. Like I was well versed in the Bible previously, so it just felt like everything that I was reading in the Quran like was being built on top of. And yeah, like I said, it was a roller coaster of emotions. There was a point where I was frustrated, where I'm like, why am I continuing to hear about the same prophets? I was getting frustrated. I'm like, why are they repeating themselves? Like, I already read about what happened to these people, what happened to those people, how they ended up. And subhanallah, it wasn't until I read Surah Al-Rahman that, you know, that was the moment that I knew I was going to become a Muslim, because it really just hit me. You know, how can we deny? It really opened my eyes, and my heart opened in that moment, because all these verses in these surahs previous to it, it was just like how can we deny? We were warned so many times. Remember the people of these people. Remember what happened to them. There was physical evidence that the prophets, peace be upon them, and their peoples would pass by, that they would see the people who were destroyed previously. And, you know, how can we deny? And then continuing on in Surah Al-Rahman, where they start talking about all the different miracles in this world that we have. It goes into so many different details. None of them are coming like right off the top of my head right now, but talking about the moon, talking about the sun, talking about vegetation, all these different kinds of things. And like in that moment, that was the moment I knew I was going to become a Muslim. But at that point, I pretty much had put the Bible down at that point. I was just all in the Quran. And, you know, like I said, my heart was open. And at that point, basically, I reached out to a brother who actually worked at the same real estate office as I did. He posted something about Islam, and at that point I was curious. I had never been to a masjid before, so out of the blue, it was completely random. I reached out to my brother Heaven, and alhamdulillah, he responded. He sent me a bunch of different content and other videos that I could watch to kind of guide me on my journey. And alhamdulillah, I ended up going to Jummah with him when he invited me. And I'll never forget, I was so nervous and so confused because I had been reading, I'd been researching at the time, but the second that I stepped in the masjid, like it all just went completely out of my mind. But again, alhamdulillah, I was there, I was surrounded by brothers, and I was able to sit through the Jummah, learn how to do a proper wudu from, again, just like seeing how the community is so helpful, from a brother there that basically showed me how to do wudu properly. And basically learning how to pray. I thought I knew after watching a couple of videos how to pray, but being there and just being overcome with emotion and hearing the call to prayer, like just it was something completely different. And alhamdulillah, in that moment, it was a bitter sweet feeling because I knew that I was about to jump into something, but I was also really nervous. But like I said, my heart was opened, and that feeling kind of sat inside me for a little bit. And on the last day of Eid, April 10th of this year, I just woke up that day and I'm like, today's the day. I can't prolong it anymore. I can't, it had just been on my mind for way too long. So I ended up going to the first masjid that I could find at that time, seeing what time that they were going to do the prayer and so on. So it was great. We were able to go through that prayer and so on and so forth, and I was able to take my shahada in that moment. So alhamdulillah for that. After that, it's been quite a journey, but that's basically how I came to Islam. Just to kind of give a bit of context, I was originally a Jehovah's Witness growing up, so a lot of the beliefs resonated with me because of that. I had always the belief in one God, and I was a practicing Jehovah's Witness, I would say from when I was a child to maybe about 13, 14 years old. I was well read in the Bible. I had read it several times, front to back. And I was living that life. I was practicing, and so on and so forth. And so the way that I looked at Islam was, it felt familiar. And again, the belief that of only one God just came naturally to me. I wasn't celebrating any holidays back then, and we don't as Muslims as well now. So it really resonated with me, and I was able to jump all in and take it all in pretty much. Alhamdulillah, my family took it really well. I'm a firm believer in leading by example. So I didn't necessarily tell them, hey, look, I've become a Muslim or anything like that. But basically they saw the change in me. They saw that I was around more, that I was more caring, and I was there for them more, and that I was making an effort to better my life and so on. And so, they received it really well. My family is very supportive to this day, and, I always make dua that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will open up their hearts and, they could find their purpose as well, being a servant of Allah. And in terms of friends, I didn't really have too many friends. I kind of cut everybody off kind of on my own personal journey. But all the friends I did have, I did have their respect. So as soon as I reverted to Islam, there was no real issue. It was business as usual. I would say definitely Surah Al-Rahman. That's one that I listen to every day. I read it. It's just that one's always special to me because, like I said, that was the moment that I knew I was going to become a Muslim. Like, it's, how can we deny? I can't pick a specific experience, but I will say that seeing the strength, sorry, of our brothers and sisters in Palestine, those that really hit me and made my faith deepen. Seeing, the calamities and the horror that these people are going through on a regular basis, but their faith was never shook. You talk to them, you listen to them. What do they say? They say Alhamdulillah every single time. And throughout this journey, I was able to understand that the martyrs that come from this oppression, they're earning a higher rank, and that sat really, really well with me, and it really deepened my faith. But it also made me see that you can't beat a group of people that are not afraid to die. You can't beat a group of people like that. And no matter how they're being oppressed, not only there, but all around the world, like, you cannot beat a group of people that are not afraid to die. I mean, it's been a great experience. Like, learning doesn't stop. Like, I would say one of the things that I love about Islam the most is that it forced me to learn history. It forced me to continually read, to listen to lectures, and learning just doesn't stop, and you continually evolve. You'll never know everything. You'll always continually be seeking more knowledge, and like that's the beauty of Islam. Like, every day I'm learning something new. Every day I'm interested in something new, and I continue to seek that knowledge. I mean, the obvious ones are, that it's a religion of hate, of terrorism, of so on and so forth in that way. But, it's the complete opposite, where, the Muslims that I've met ever since are some of the nicest people, the most giving, the most caring. And, they would literally open their doors to their homes to you. And yeah, I would say that, and just seeing how they live their lives. Like, they practice what they preach, and they live their life in that manner. Like, it's not a joke. Everybody lives in that manner. Also, I wanted to say that in Islam, a lot of the times people think it's a religion meant just for people who speak Arabic, where the reality is that the highest population of Muslims actually are from Malaysia. So it's not even an Arab country. And, you don't have to dress like this to be a Muslim. Like, I enjoy it, I like it. That's the way I choose to dress when I want to. But you could look however you want. Like, Alhamdulillah, just meeting all the different groups of people and nationalities and so on and so forth. Like, you see all different types of people dress in all different sorts of ways, and I think that's the beauty of Islam. There's no one particular way that you need to look or you need to speak, per se. For people that are newly looking into Islam, I would suggest reading the clear Quran, just because it helps with the context of reading the verses, and just coming with an open heart, because that's essentially what it is. If you come in closed-minded, you could read until your face is blue and you won't take anything in. But when you come in with an open heart and you're genuinely curious, you're able to find the knowledge that you're looking for, and you just get so much more out of the experience. For new reverts, I would say, just understanding that it's a marathon, it's not a race. You're never going to know everything, so you can get that out of your mind right away. And I would say my biggest takeaway from everything is just finding a group of people. For example, I found this Reverts Connect group, and shout out to them, and alhamdulillah, like some of my best friends are now from this group. I've surrounded myself with good people that have good intentions and that are striving to do the same thing. And as a result, like it's helped my growth grow or go astronomically. So the importance of having a good community and a good group of people is important. And I would say, like, even looking for groups online, like I found a group online by Sheikh Abdullah Oduro, and it's called the Masterman Group, and they're teaching basically through the Islamic lens how to be a masculine man, how to live your life according to the Sunnah and according to Islamic values. So some great friends that I now have, I met through this group. And I just want to bring forward the importance of that, of having a good group of people around you that will help you to continually grow. That's super, super important. And again, just having an open heart and understanding that you're never going to know everything, and just, you got to be willing to put yourself out there. That's another big thing for sure. And spending time here in the masjid, that's where I learned some of my best lessons, you know. I right now I feel like I'm living du'as. You know, I asked for a good group of people. I'm here. When I made du'as to continue to learn more about Islam, I was hanging out in the masjid praying, and you know, I had never prayed in a group together. And then all of a sudden one day I found myself praying in a group. I was leading. I had no idea what I was doing. But at the same time, like, it was one of the greatest lessons, because a brother came up to me after, he corrected me. He had no idea I was a revert. So again, just spending time in the masjid, like, you're able to meet wonderful people that are willing to teach. But again, you got to be willing to put yourself out there and want to learn from others as well. Yeah, again, you know, thank you to the Reverts Connect group for bringing us all together. They're working on a lot of great things, and they have a lot of big plans for the future. You know, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless them and their efforts, and all of us, you know, protect, preserve us, and, you know, help us continue to grow in our faith, and just continue to get better. And something else that I just wanted to say is that, you know, there's no more coincidences in life. Ever since I've become a Muslim, like, that's one of the biggest things. There's no more coincidences. The people you meet, the conversations you have, the experiences you have, like, there's no coincidences anymore. It's how you interpret things, how you look at things, how you are in the moment, and what you're willing to do to make the most of that moment, or if you're willing to speak to different people and just be willing to learn. And, you know, I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala unites us as an ummah and allows us to help each other, but also to help the world, you know, help us piece it back together however we can, and to allow us to, you know, through dawah, you know, bring more people together. Let's go. I had so much more, but it's okay. We could do we could do another take sometime.
What's your favorite halal food?
My favorite halal food? Oof, that's a great question. There's way too many. What's that place that we went to?
Hamdi?
Hamdi, bro. Hamdi, MashaAllah, number one, bro. Shout out to them.
Shout out to Hamdi.
Shout out to Hamdi.
Sponsor us.
Yeah.